Hi, in the last lesson in this series I explained how you can use major pentatonic scales to create useful chord voicings that can be played with several different root notes. In this lesson I want to show you how you can create some quartal voicings from 3 different major pentatonic scales that can be used when you're comping over a minor 7th chord. This is especially useful in modal jazz, where a single chord can last for many bars. If you're not familiar with the concept of quartal voicings in modal jazz, I'll start with a brief explanation of those 2 terms. Modal jazz is a style of jazz that focuses on musical modes rather than traditional chord progressions as the basis for both improvisation and composition. In styles like bebop, harmony tends to move quickly with complex, fast-moving chord changes that outline functional progressions like 2-5-1. Improvisation in those styles often involves spelling out the chords, hitting guide tones, and using chord-specific scales or arpeggios. By contrast, modal jazz strips all that back. Instead of cycling through multiple chord changes, a modal tune might sit on a single chord or single mode for many bars, sometimes even an entire section of a tune. Now this gives it a kind of harmonic open space where the improviser isn't chasing chord changes, but can explore melodies, intervals and colours more freely within a single tonal landscape. A classic example of modal jazz is So What by Miles Davis. The A section stays on a Dorian mode for 16 bars. There's no chord changes, just that one mode. Quartal voicing simply means voicing where the predominant interval is a 4th rather than the usual 3rd. So normally you would think of building a chord, say a D minor 7, as thirds stacked on top of each other. When you go up to 9th and 11th and so on, you're still adding thirds. Now, a typical quartal voicing for a D minor 7 would be something like this. Now, there we've got a perfect 4th, another perfect 4th, another perfect 4th, and a major 3rd on the top. So it's predominantly built with 4ths. Another voicing that you could use is this one. And that one is built entirely of perfect 4ths. Quartal voices are particularly useful in modal jazz because they add to that drifting, ambiguous feel. They don't feel like they're particularly pulling you in any one direction. There's a PDF available for this lesson with a link in the description below. Also, if you wanted to look at my shop and look at the other PDFs that I've done, I've put a link to that too, and a coupon code which gives you 50% reduction if you want to buy any 5 PDFs. Don't have to be in the same series, just any 5. Somebody asked me how to apply the coupon code. So you pick your 5 PDFs. For each one, click add to cart. Then you go there, top right hand corner, that takes you to the checkout. Click on checkout. Now, to add the coupon, just below that central box in tiny writing it says add coupon. So click on that, copy and paste the coupon code that I've put in the description, and that reduces it by 50%. So let's look now at the quartal voicings that we can use on a Dorian mode on D. Just a quick reminder, a Dorian mode on D is simply the notes of a C major scale but starting on D. Now within that mode there are 3 major pentatonic scales starting on the 3rd, 4th and 7th degrees of the mode. So the 3rd degree of a Dorian mode on D is F. And the notes of the F major pentatonic scale are all contained within the Dorian mode on D. Also the 4th, G. Again, all those notes are found in the Dorian mode on D. And also on the 7th, C, I'll play it down here. So all the notes of a C major pentatonic scale are found within the Dorian mode on D. And we can use those three different major pentatonic scales to build a series of quartal voicings. Now we're going to use the same technique that we did in the last video. We're going to start with the F major pentatonic scale, play it down there. I'll hold those notes down with my left hand. Now we're going to take every other note out and displace it up an octave. So I'm going to take the G out and place it there, then take the C out and place it up there. So we've got the first voicing there. Now it starts with a major third, but then after that, perfect fourth, fourth, fourth. If we do the same thing on each note of the pentatonic scale, we get these voicings. Now again, predominantly perfect fourth, just with a major third in the middle. The next one, starting on A, is entirely perfect fourths. Another one with perfect fourths and a major third in the middle, and finally that one with the perfect fourths and the major third at the top. So I'm going to play a D, a low D down at the bottom of the keyboard, and just play those voicings over that D. So you can hear how effective they can be. Now we can do exactly the same thing with a G pentatonic scale. And we get these voicings. I'll play the D and the bass and then play the voicings. And finally we can use the C major pentatonic scale and get these voicings once again, D and the bass. So we've now got a wide variety of quartal voicings that we can play on a Dorian mode on D. And these are very useful because we can create a feeling of movement, but without actually changing the chord. So let's look at each note of the Dorian mode on D now and look at all the available voicings on that note. So starting with D, we've got that one from the F pentatonic scale, that one from the G pentatonic scale, and that one from the C pentatonic scale. By the way, I've written the letter names together with a lowercase p above these voicings. That's not saying an F chord, it's saying the voicing is built from the F major pentatonic scale, and the G with the lowercase p means that the voicing is built from the G major pentatonic scale. But all of these are voicings to be played over D in the Dorian mode. So the next note, E, we've just got two voicings here. That one from the G major pentatonic scale and this one from the C major pentatonic scale. On F, because F is only in the F major pentatonic scale, it's not in G or C. That means that there's only one voicing, that one. On the G, there are three again. That one from the F pentatonic scale, this from G, and this one from C. On A, there are three voicings. This one from the F major pentatonic scale, this one from the G major pentatonic scale, and this one from the C major pentatonic scale. Now B is only in the G major pentatonic scale, it's not in F or C, and therefore there is just one voicing available there. And then finally on C there are two voicings available, F major pentatonic scale and from the C major pentatonic scale. Now, rather than trying to memorize all these different possible voicings in one go, I think it's a good idea just to pick out a couple of pairs of voicings that you feel work well together. So I've come up with a little list here of possible pairs of voicings, but they're not the only voicings you can choose by any means. So it starts off with these two, both the same shape. That is perfect fourth, perfect fourth, perfect fourth, major third at the top. The first one based on an F major pentatonic scale, the second one a G major pentatonic scale. And those voicings have become famous. They're known as So What voicings after the iconic jazz piece by Miles Davis called So What, which begins like this. So it's those two voicings. So they are guaranteed to work well together. The next one I've got here is two from the C major pentatonic scale. And then one from F major pentatonic and G pentatonic, G to G, and then F to G. So if you picked out a couple of pairs, for instance, you could pick that one going to that one, and then that one going to that one. And if you're comping on a Dorian mode for a lengthy time, you know, several bars, you could actually just use those four voicings to begin with and then add others as you go along. So what I did at the beginning of this video was demonstrate how you can comp over a Dorian mode for an extended period of time using various pairs of quartal voicings built from these different major pentatonic scales. Hope you found this useful. If you did and you haven't done so far, I'd be really grateful if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.